Well, we're pleased to be welcomed on by Maryland women's basketball's newest transfer edition, Oluchi Okanawa. Thank you so much, Oluchi, for joining us. We're excited to have you on.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Well, first off, we can start, being from Boston, we have another Boston member on the podcast. Out of 10, how disappointing was last night's game against the Knicks?
I'm not even ready to talk about it. So
that
I'm at a loss.
Yeah, that was a pretty brutal collapse. But moving off the NBA and to kind of who you are, take us through a little bit about what went into your decision to commit to Maryland. Duke is obviously an esteemed program. You play under a pretty popular coach there in Durham, but decide to enter the portal and commit to Maryland amongst a team that has a lot of wings already. Can you just tell us what your process was to committing to coming to College Park?
Yeah, I mean, well, first and foremost, anywhere that I was going to go, I knew I had to have a strong relationship with the head coach. So taking the time, even though everything in the portal moved so fast, and I didn't have as much time as I would have had I been uh, going through this the first time around in recruiting with Maryland. But it was enough for me to be able to form somewhat of a relationship with Brenda and really trust her. And most importantly, trust that I'm going to grow here at Maryland, which was a big thing that I was looking for when it came to the portal. And just assessing the team and the kind of players that they had, and most importantly, the position that I would be stepping into on the team, I knew that this was the right fit.
Duke and Maryland, I mean, those used to be bitter rivals in the ACC. Has anyone down there at Duke said anything to you about coming to College Park?
Um, well, let me think. Probably in their heads, but I think I got, the nice sayings to me about congrats
You
and what.
uh, you had the opportunity to play in the Xfinity Center this past season. What do you remember about that experience and kind of the atmosphere in the Xfinity Center?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, first of all, compared to my previous school's gym. But it's kind of funny thinking about it now because I just thought it was just another road game. I didn't really think much about it. I didn't think that this was going to be a place I was going to call home later down the road.
Can you tell us a little bit about, you talked about your relationship with Brenda. Did she recruit you at all out of high school?
Yes, we had a brief interaction outside of high school. I mean, sorry, at high school. But it didn't necessarily materialize into much. She had her eyes on others, I had my eyes on others, so we didn't necessarily make that connection to choose each other more, I would say. But yeah, we're definitely familiar with each other.
So then when it came this time around, did you reach out first? Did she connect with you? And then what was your best Brenda impression, your first impression you got of her, or a good story you had during the second recruiting process?
Yeah, I mean, the day my name went into the portal, like I was on the phone with her like not too long after. Like she reached out to me. She really what it was she showed me that she wanted me, which I think is a big thing for me. She recruited me super hard, so hard to the fact that she was like, it's so funny. We were texting until like something a.m. and she was like, "Why don't we just get you here tomorrow?" Because we were planning for a visit and we were thinking, okay, like let's think about like the Tuesday coming up because my name went in the portal Friday. She's like, okay, let's think about Tuesday and whatnot. And all of a sudden she's like, no, no, like, no, I want you here tomorrow. Like, we want you. So that's definitely like the biggest impression I got. And that was the biggest, like, okay, she's serious.
When you get a text from I always have wondered this, does it just a random number that comes through? Do they text you before being like, hey, this is Brenda Freeze? Or do you just kind of have to pick up and be like, I don't know who this might be, but like it could be any random college coach?
Well, so actually, I don't answer if I don't know the number. Because usually they text after. So I'm like, okay, I'll just like, I need
Right.
to, and I'll wait for the text. But also, like once I'm in the portal, like college coaches, like they didn't just reach out to me, they reached out to like, um people in my circle, like my AU coach, I can reach out to my age, like whoever it may be around me that maybe they have a connection to. So I'm not just receiving a bunch of calls from everybody.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. What went into the decision to actually end up leaving Duke? Obviously, you do all the transfer portal process then, but why did you want to get out of Duke?
hmm Yeah, I mean, definitely there's a lot of layers to it, but I mean, I'm a firm woman in my faith, and I just knew that it was time for me to go. God, 1000% showed me the signs, put it on my heart that, you know, I have so much love for that place. Those 2 years were some of the best 2 years of my life. I'm never going to forget it. Or those girls I call sisters on that team. But when it's time for you to move on.
Did you coming off? I mean, you had a great freshman season when you were at Duke. I think you were the sixth player of the year at that point, the first Duke player to ever win that award. Then came off the bench again in your second season. How much of coming off, like wanting a chance to start? Because players, yes, like you can play roles and things, but starting is an important thing to a lot of players. Is that something you want at Maryland? Have you talked with Brenda about it? And did that play into your decision to leave? Because generally, if someone wins sixth player of the year, they're going to naturally be elevated into a starting role the season after. So it was interesting to kind of see that. Can you talk about, the two questions I asked?
Yeah, I mean, of course, everybody wants to start. And really, what I did at Duke was I just kind of had to drown out all that noise of wanting to start because I need to focus on being successful on the court. And it kind of gets hard if you're constantly thinking about what you don't have. But me starting was not a reason why I decided to leave Duke. We had a senior guard that I would play behind that was graduating, so I knew that there was going to be a spot open for me to fight for, and I was confident enough in my abilities and what I've shown for me to be able to get that spot, hopefully. Of course, at the end of the day, that's not my call. Um, so I was strong in that. And of course, obviously speaking to Brenda, and this goes back to where I said about where I fit in on the team and why I think this is a really great opportunity for me. I do have a strong sense that I should be starting. Once again, I'm another firm believer in you got to work for everything that you get. I don't want anything just handed to me. That's never really been how things go in my life. So, I mean, I'm going to put the work out there to become a starter to make sure I earn that spot.
Was that part of the conversations you had with Coach Freeze, kind of the role that you would be playing this upcoming season, coming off the bench versus being in that starting rotation?
Of course. Yeah. That was definitely one of the first questions I was asking any college coach I was talking to when I entered the portal, because having been in college basketball now for 2 years and understanding the role I had with Duke, I really wanted to make an emphasis that I wanted to step into something bigger with more responsibility. So that was one of the first questions I asked.
Can you kind of describe your position to us? Because you're listed as a guard. I've watched some of your tape. You play almost like a wing, but then you rebound like a forward. It's an interesting dilemma you have going on there. What is the ideal position and role that you're playing between the 1 through 5?
Yeah, I mean, whatever I'm needed, to be honest. That's really a big thing for me. Of whatever my team needs. If they need me to bring up the ball and push it, I can. If they need me to knock down some threes on the wings, I can. If they need me to go in and get a bunch of rebounds because we're losing on the boards, I can. So I wouldn't say I'm necessarily positionless, because obviously my height stunts me at positions. So, but yeah, I just think I'm a guard that's looking to do everything and be everything.
You have a lot of players kind of like that on this team. If you look, I mean, Bree McDaniel really has 1 through 3 versatility. Smichael played kind of between the 2 and 4 last year. Do you expect, you guys, Sailor Poffenbarger kind of does the same thing. Do you expect it to be almost like just a mismatch or mishmash of different wings that kind of build up the lineups? Or do you think Brenda's going to have defined roles for you as the season progresses?
I'll be honest with you, I have no idea, but I completely trust Brenda and her vision and plan for the team. I'm really just going in there like everything's in her hands, obviously, because I mean, she's look at her reputation as a head coach. So I know she knows what she's talking about and what she's doing.
Do you have any previous relationships with the current Maryland roster, or have you been in touch with some of the other transfers that are coming into Maryland next year?
I think no, not necessarily. No, not necessarily do I have as much relationships with them. But honestly, it's funny because coming on my visit, I mean, wow, like they were just so easygoing. Like that's like you hear a lot of different words. Oh, how was the team? Well, they were nice. They were funny. They were just so easy. Like nothing about integrating with them was hard, which I think was another thing that really put my decision over the top of like I can play with these girls. I can talk with these girls. I can really see myself being a part of their team.
So when you're in the transfer portal, is there any communication with like the other transfers that are incoming from Maryland, or is it mostly like, once we get to campus in the summer, that's when we start to bond, that's when we start to go get to know each other?
Yeah, definitely. Once we get to campus, because also you don't really know who's committing to where. Like obviously, if they're getting recruited by the same school doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna go. So creating a relationship to then be like bye is kind of odd. And also everyone's really just so focused on like finding their new home.
Right. One of the things that I think is kind of the biggest swing stat for you, you've shown the ability to make threes at the college level. You've made 58 over the past 2 seasons at around, I think, 32%, but it hasn't been necessarily a strength in terms of your overall game. What are you doing to work on your jumper this offseason? Is that your top priority to be able to knock down perimeter shots? Because that is a big deal in Brenda's offense. She values perimeter spacing, especially from guards. Talk to me about what you want to do with your jumper this offseason. Are you making any tweaks? Is it just repetition? What are you planning to do in the summer?
Yeah, I mean that is quite literally my number one goal right now that I'm working on. And all that is reps. Reps, reps, reps. I'm getting reps, of course, stationary, on the move. I've been doing a lot out of certain in-game offensive actions that I feel like we might see. Obviously, I don't know the Maryland offense, but I just want to stay ready. And I think that's it, really. It's consistency. It's the long game. I'm excited to put in all this work and then see the results when it comes time for the season. But I 100% know I'm a better shooter than I've shown. And I'm excited to show that.
You showed it a little bit in conference tournaments. You've had a knack for thriving in March. What is it about those ACC tournaments that you really turned it up a notch? Was it just a string of games where you really just like locked in, or is it something about playing in a conference or NCAA tournament that you really like and kind of shine in?
Yeah. I really don't know, to be honest. I guess maybe because I actually like pressure. It's not something that I shy away from. So maybe it's kind of those situations where I'm either going to rise up to the challenge or I'm not. But I mean, also those things are fun for
Yeah.
sure. You're competing for a championship. Obviously, everyone has the goal of the NCAA championship, but I think a conference championship and title is. I mean, that's something that you remember forever. It goes up in the rafters. Get the ring that I can't wait for, and overall it means something.
Yeah. You've looked at the Brewers roster, I imagine. You've seen what the pieces are. What do you think that, I mean, this team seems pretty loaded. Has there been talks with Brenda? Does she seem like, hey, like I think we can be not only Big Ten contenders, but contenders across the country? Has she talked with you about those expectations? Because I know you mentioned wanting to win a Big Ten championship, but do you think this roster is poised to do that?
No doubt. That's of course something that I talk about because another thing that was important to me was winning. Um, Wherever I go, I want to be in a position where we have a team that can win, that obviously I can contribute to, and that can lead to success for us. So, I mean, truly, I believe a team can only go as far as the people on it, as far as the work that they're willing to put in, as far as the chemistry that they're willing to build. And I think that's something I saw with the girls on the visit of how not just easy, they're willing, you know, willing to do what it takes to win. So I'm really excited for that.
And last question, Oluchi, what's something off the court that fans wouldn't know about you that you think is kind of important? Is there any good stories that capture who you are? Is there any small nuggets about what your personality or things you like to do that you think would give fans some insight into what makes you tick?
Well, I do have a series called Styling with Lucci that I'm really excited to be bringing with me to College Park.
You got a YouTube channel?
Sorry. Oh no, not a YouTube channel. It's
Okay.
a series on Instagram
Oh, nice.
on my account. But yeah, I'm really excited
What
to go deeper into that.
did you follow? Did you look at the Met Gala looks? What was your favorite
Yeah,
one?
Met Gala looks, yes.
Okay. Who was your favorite?
I liked Sabrina Carpenter's look.
Okay.
I did like that one.
Yeah.
I liked Enoch. She's a model. Her
Yeah.
look, her dress was amazing. I feel like it was the perfect piece.
I've seen you've translated that into a deal with CVS. So congrats on the NIL money with them using that to kind of build up your portfolio.
Oh yeah. I mean, the CVS deal, it definitely came like on its own, separate from Styling with Lucci.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They must value the fashion advice that you're giving out. You know.
it was definitely because they saw Styling with Lucci. That's so no other.
I love it. Well, thank
I think
you.
we got to get Sam on that. We got to get Sam on an episode of that.
Yeah, come on. Best fashion on the Under the Shell pod, easily.
Oh,
No question. But we appreciate you hopping on. Thank you so much. Good luck this upcoming season. Stay healthy. We appreciate you hopping on, and good luck this summer with all your training.
Thank you so much, guys. It was so nice talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise. Have a good one.
Bye.